Time to make some more. Hey, Lee here, helping you become a better plant parent, and this is the Monstera Deliciosa, or the Swiss cheese plant. When you're ready to make more of this plant, the easy part is making your cut and having it grow roots in water. The hard part is making sure that it roots without rotting. Let's get started. And the first thing you should be looking for is, does your plant have an aerial root? Aerial roots are these dark to light brown pieces that shoot out of the stem of your plant. While you can propagate a Monstera without an aerial root, your success rate will be much higher if you wait until your plant grows one. You'll need a sharp, clean knife or clippers. Make sure you disinfect your tools with rubbing alcohol before you get started. When you disinfect your tools, that will make sure that no bacteria gets into the stem after you make your cut. If you do have bacteria getting into your stem, you increase the chances that your cutting will rot. When taking a cutting from your plant, you need a leaf, an aerial root, and to cut below the stem. Make sure you give yourself as much room as possible along the stem, creating more space between the stem and the aerial root. We want to give ourselves more space along the stem of the plant so that just in case it does start to rot, we can cut off that part and give our cutting a second chance. Root rot and stem rot is a possibility when you're water propagating your plants. I do have another video explaining in detail the steps that you can follow to prevent those things from happening, but for the purpose of this video, I'll run through them as quickly as possible. Let the end of your cut dry and callus over for at least 2 hours. Use an antifungal like cinnamon, raw honey, or rooting hormone on the open stem of the plant. Use rooting hormone along the aerial roots if you want to make your plant grow roots faster. Please don't use cinnamon or honey on this part of your plant. It will do nothing except make your plant taste delicious. If you want to be extra, or if you have a sensitive variegated Monstera, you can actually seal the end with candle wax too. I go more into details of why I'm doing this in my other video, and you can check in the description down below. Find an appropriate size glass jar and store this in a bright spot with indirect sunlight. After a few weeks, you should have some really great water roots and your plant will be ready to be placed into soil. The longer you have it in water, the longer your roots will grow, but I do recommend only waiting until your roots are about 2 to 3 inches long. I usually wait until I have the secondary roots coming off of my plant, and that's usually when I'm confident to place it in water. At this point, the easy part is finished. The next part is choosing the correct pot size for your plant. And this is the part where most people get their cuttings to rot. It does not matter how big your leaf is. Your leaf could be this big, or it could be this big. The only thing that you should be concerned about is the current size of your roots. If your roots are the size of your fist, you need to choose a pot that can hold and support roots that are this size. Let me show you what I mean. Now that we have an appropriate size pot, we are ready to pot this up. Fill in a few inches of the bottom of your pot with soil, add in your plant, and then fill in the rest. If you want to add a stake to your plant, now is a good time to do that. Arrange your cuttings so that the leaves are facing away from the stake. I also have a dedicated video on this too, and links to everything you'll need are down in the description below. Once your plant is in soil, remember to water it a little more than usual. Your roots are used to being in an aquatic environment, and to come over to soil where it can dry out quickly can be harmful to the plant. So for the first few weeks, make sure it's a little more on the moist side. Having great soil is essential to keep this plant healthy and thriving in your home, so you can check out this video where I talk about how to make the perfect soil mix for this plant, or you can look at a playlist where I talk about how to become a better plant parent just for this plant right here. If this video was helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing. See you next time.